Hello everyone, welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully you're having a great day. If you've been watching Larry's Anything Goes programming, you know that we are not only providing great financial intelligence content as much as possible by interviewing other financial professionals, professionals in the travel industry, real estate industry, etc. and so forth, but we provide various services when it comes to specific products that we sell, from anything that you would actually find on Amazon or actually at Walmart, etc. and so forth. And we are actually providing specific products due to today's current crisis and whatnot to ensure that we provide the right services and products that you need at a reasonable price when it comes to medical face masks, when it comes to hand sanitizer, and when it comes to latex gloves and things of that nature, and etc. and so forth, toilet paper, paper towels. But we have what you need. Also, family, don't forget that Larry's Anything Goes is a part of an affiliate marketing network known as Gold Standard Partners, where you have the opportunity to buy cryptocurrency and allow others to invest with you as becoming an affiliate marketing partner. And obviously, if they purchase a package with the program, you're able to make money off their package purchases and make money off of their crypto purchases and things of that nature. If you want to join, please follow the links in the description, and I'll give you a call as soon as you sign up and purchase a package, and we'll go from there. But definitely, it's all about the best way to make money moves is to have currency with one another and to ensure that currency is always being spoken of on all levels, so it benefits everyone and not just one specific person. That's a lot of things that people forget about. So think about joining the program and we'll be able to go from there. But if not, either way, it's always appreciated. And thank you for watching. And hopefully you guys have a great day and continuously make money moves so you don't live broke like a fool. Take care. As you can see, with our various products, we have our financial apparel. As you see, wearing There's Anything Goes t-shirt, financial intelligence is sexy, face masks, latex gloves, things of that nature, to obviously ensure the safety of you and your family all at the same time. We want to ensure that you get the best products and see the actual products that we're actually providing for you, and giving you another view of not only the shirts and the medical masks, but actually another view of actual latex gloves and the actual hand sanitizer. Because one thing we've learned throughout this unfortunate crisis is that we have to take more precautionary measures to ensure not only the safety for ourselves, but for our families. And having a great pair of hand sanitizers, latex gloves, and medical face masks will ensure that safety. And with all that being said, hopefully you guys will check out our online store. We have the various products that you see here. With a couple of clicks, especially if you're paying via PayPal, it makes life that much easier for you to purchase our various products, especially during this unfortunate situation. You see the apparel from Larry's Anything Goes. We have the medical products when it comes to hand sanitizer, latex gloves, medical face masks, and things of that nature, and various other products. So please check out Larry's Anything Goes. Support small local businesses. We greatly appreciate it, and hopefully that you have a good day. Goes the family. Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully, you guys are having a great and exceptional day, another dollar. The weekend's almost here, so it is all good in the neighborhood, as they say. All right, so a couple things are happening in the world today. Obviously, one of the biggest thing is the Brittney Griner situation. Unfortunate as it is, it's crazy, but I wasn't even gonna, talk about that today until I found out the news about it. I don't wish anything bad on anybody, so it's a crazy situation. But I'll give my 2 cents on that later. It's not going to be a popular opinion, but it is what it is. Um, but hey, that's why it's called Larry's Anything Goes, because everything I talk about is not going to be popular. I'm not trying to create drama. I'm not trying to create foolishness. I'm not even going to debate when I give my opinion on this, because it's my opinion. I have a right to it. But it is what it is. But let's start with this first story of the hour that I originally planned on talking about, and it's Chris Rock and Will Smith, the reconciliation of them after all this time. I can't believe when that issue happened, that it was actually cold. Um, I think it was still the winter time when the Oscars was on, and the only reason why people that was probably like the most watched Oscars is because first time that African American man hosted it, and it was all black hosts on there, and black actors and movies being showcased for the most part. But that was number one. But then number two, obviously, is when Chris Rock made a joke, and a lot of people say he was wrong for the joke. A lot of people say he was okay with the joke. I'm okay because it's like I hate this world that we live in. I'm going to say I can't stand it when people go to comedy shows just to heckle the comedians and to like because they get offended. And my mindset is if you don't want to get offended, don't go to a freaking comedy show. Okay. That's what it is. And if you really don't want to be offended, don't really go out to the world. You're going to get offended. That's just what it is. I had to deal with people's crap when I was a kid, and I had to, the men that were around me was like, hey man, wipe your face, get, pick yourself up and deal with it as a man, because this is the world that you live in. But we live in this soft, don't hurt my feelings world all the time, and a lot of times people need to know you're going to deal with jerks. That's just what it is. Regardless of where you live at, you can live in Texas, California, Mississippi, New York. You're going to deal with jerks. There's jerks wherever you go in this world. It is what it is. You can live in Pakistan. You can live in India. You can live in Nigeria. You can live in the UK. You can live in Germany, Spain. You can live in Mexico. You can live in El Salvador. It doesn't matter. You're going to find jerks no matter where you go. So it is what it is. You're going to find rude people no matter where you go. Okay. It is what it is. That's just life. Okay. That is life. Now, recently I made a video about, Will Smith um issuing an apology to Chris Rock, finally, um knowing that he was wrong for slapping Chris Rock and embarrassing himself and embarrassing his family, for just being going on stage and doing what he did. It is what it is. Um, but the thing is, at the end of the day, Will Smith has gotten a lot of backlash, and I think the apology, it may be sincere, it may not be sincere, but um, the thing is, his money got screwed with, because, and that's the sad thing with Will Smith doing this. You have to, all of us as adults have to practice some sort of restraint in this life, because if you don't, even if you work for yourself and you're a business owner or whatnot, you can ruin relationships by the specific things that you put out there to the world online, or the things that you do out in public and whatnot. You could be a millionaire, you could be a billionaire, but if you continuously ruin your relationships and put yourself out there in a dark light and whatnot, um, you're not going to be able to make money moves in other areas. I mean, like when it was big news, I don't know why it was big news, but it was big news when Jeff Bezos and his wife got a divorce. And the biggest news was how much money he was going to have to pay her and whatnot and all that good stuff. And the same thing with Dr. Dre. But the thing is, they's like, hey, you're gonna get this one specific number, and then that's it. You're not. I don't want to give you alimony. You're gonna get this one specific number, and that's what it is. And they're gonna move on with their lives, you know. And I think Jeff Bezos was cheating on his wife, but it's not the end of the world if somebody cheats on their spouse and whatnot. I know people want to make it look like that, but it's not. The man's like, look, okay, here's the amount of money. You were with me all this time. Blah blah blah. We're gonna move on with our lives. It is what it is. My mind said, I don't care what anybody says. There's no point in living in a house and being with somebody just because of a ring, just because of whatever. If you're miserable, then there's no point of being in a house, being with anybody. I don't care what you've been through, all that. If I, as a grown man speaking, if I'm paying to live in a place, I'm paying. I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm where I live at. I'm going to be comfortable in my house. If I'm not comfortable in my house, there's no point in it being my house. But I leave it at that, you know. But Will Smith, getting back to the subject matter at hand, he um he lost an opportunity to star in a film called Fast and Loose. The film was to premiere on Netflix in the future. But a variety of reports that the streaming giant pushed pause on the moving forward with the project after the incident happened. So it cost him a film, you know. And with that King Richard movie, which was a great movie. I mean, it was a great freaking movie. The saddest thing is, that like Will Smith was back, he was doing it, boom, 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 boom. But it cost him, acting a fool, and that's why I really think he's going on this apology and he's trying to reconcile what's happening. I think one, that he feels bad for what he did, and then two, he knows he has to clean up the mess that he's made to continuously live the lifestyle that he's living right now. Because it's costing him. That's why, and this is why I say, one, the Brittney Griner thing. It's just like when that one woman got suspended. I forgot her name because I don't watch sports, but I remember she got suspended. This was last year from competing in the Olympics. She was a track star because she got a test. A drug test and whatnot. She was smoking marijuana, and so she got a negative test. And my mind is this: everybody has their habits. I get it, but are you going to let your habits cost you your livelihood? I can't put it any other way. I'm never going to tell somebody what to do with their life because my mindset is you do what you do, but crying about it later, especially for somebody to get to the Olympics and whatnot, it was that serious to get high instead of focusing on being disciplined and what you need to do. Okay. That is my mindset in that. Okay. You break the rule. Look, because here's the thing I have to freaking follow rules and obey laws. Okay. There's some rules I don't want to follow, but I have to follow them. It's called being a responsible adult. Love it or hate it, it is what it is. All right. Am I squeaky clean? No. But I go out of my way to be a law abiding citizen. That's just what I do. Okay. I'm not a fan of illegal activity. It is what it is. Call me a prude. Call me what you want to call me. I'm not a fan of illegal activity. It is what it is. Okay. So I'm going to get to Brittany now because I'm not going to spend too much time on it. It's like I said, my opinion on this is not popular. I'm not happy that she's gotten 9 years for a little sativa in her that she got caught bringing in. It was in her vape pipe and whatnot. Um, I'm not a fan of drugs, period. So if you're a weed smoker, do what you do. I don't care, but I'm not an advocate for it at all. So it doesn't do anything for me. I barely drink alcohol anymore, so I'm just not a fan of this stuff. I like my mind being clear. I like feeling healthy. I like feeling 100%. I don't need to be dazed, and I don't need to be drunk and high to get along with my life and whatnot. So that's just, and because unfortunately there's a culture of more and more people, especially with marijuana becoming more and more legal, that people have to get high and drunk all the time to get through life or just feel good about themselves. And that's pretty sad in my personal opinion, but I'll leave it at that. But a Russian court sentenced WNBA star Brittney Griner to 9 years in prison Thursday, and expected conclusion to her trial that should allow negotiations for a prisoner swap to accelerate. Yeah, she's been in prison since February 17th. Um, and I know a lot of this is not even just her breaking the country's laws, but it's political too because Russia wants to exchange prisoners, and that's just, unfortunately, they're playing with people's lives and whatnot. Is literally playing chess and poker with people's lives in these things. So that's why I say I'm not on Russia's side whatsoever. Trust me, not a fan of Russia. I'm good. Um, I'm not a fan, and she was arrested on February 17th for bringing cannabis into the country. She had been prepared for a harsh sentence, sources close to the player said, but she and her supporters have also been aware that Russia was not going to move forward with a trade that could bring her home until her trial was completed. Okay. A guilty verdict was considered a foregone conclusion, and Griner pleaded guilty July 7th though the case continued under Russian law. Okay. During the sentencing, the judge said that she had found that Griner intentionally broke the law and fined her 1 million rubles, which is, I guess that's Russian currency. It's about $16,000, $16,700. Griner has served in custody since her arrest in February, would count towards the sentence. Griner reacted to the sentence with little emotion, listening to the verdict with a blank stare on her face. As she was let out of court, Griner said, "I love my family." The 9 year sentence was close to the maximum of 10 years that Griner had faced under the charges, and prosecutors had asked for a 9.5 year sentence. Griner's defense lawyers said that they would appeal. The defense team said that in sentencing, the court had ignored all evidence it had presented in Griner's guilty plea. And her defense attorney said, told reporters that Griner was very upset, very stressed, which I get. She can hardly talk. It's a difficult time for her. I mean, I get it. Under Russian law, Griner has 10 days to appeal, and her lawyers said they expect a hearing in Moscow Regional Court next week. If Griner could ask for a pardon from Russian President Putin, um, they would consider every possibility, but the lawyers said that they were not part of any discussions about a prisoner swap. That's a President Biden and President Putin thing, and if it happens, great. I mean, I'm rooting for her to get out. I don't, I don't wish this on anybody. I mean, it's a very harsh sentence, but you're in Russia and you're in a foreign country. It reminds me of the time those two ladies walked into North Korea and they got arrested. They were in China and then they went to the they got somehow some way got to the North Korea border. Then they got arrested. And like these teenagers who were hiking in northern they were hiking in northern Iraq, and this is during the Iraqi wartime, mind you, and they ended up in freaking Iran and they got arrested and locked up. So in the United States of America, I go out of my way to abide by laws. Okay. If I go into a foreign country, you best believe I'm going to be extra careful in ensuring that I abide by their laws and whatnot. And then the thing is, I'm not disparaging Russians. I don't have issues against Russians or any other people from anywhere in the world and whatnot. But going to China and going to Russia, there's a tense relationship with the United States and those governments. It always has been, most likely always will be. It is what it is. So you have to, unfortunately, have to be extra careful. It's just like when the basketball players that were in China and whatnot, and you had the guy screaming, "Hey, and get out of the country. We don't want you here," and whatnot. And the brother had to keep walking because if he stepped out of line, he could get arrested and whatnot, kicked out of the country. He was a basketball player, because I know that they have all these different basketball leagues all over the world and whatnot. In front of the family, he was playing in basketball in Israel, Italy. He's been all over the world and whatnot. I think he's about to retire now, but yeah, he's been all over the place playing basketball in those different leagues. Um, but yeah, you have the different rules to follow, and unfortunately, you might not like the rules, but it is what it is. So if it is true that she had hash in her bags and whatnot, a residue of hash in her bags, you know, I know 9 years is definitely harsh, but I'm just hoping that this is a lesson for her, and a lesson, like, if the president swap happens, great, I'm all for it. But I'm I know that this is because I think they have a Marine over there in Russia as well. So it wouldn't just be her, but it'd be another Marine as well, United States Marine. But anyways, at the end of the day, people, do your best, whether you agree with the law or not. Don't break the law, especially when you go to a foreign country. I'm just really going to put it out there right now. Okay, don't break the law, because you think going to jail bad is in America. You go to jail in another country. Whew. I mean, I remember I used to watch those reality TV shows, um, being in jail overseas and whatnot, and it's being in prison in America is a freaking walk in the park compared to a lot of countries um, in Central South America, the Caribbean, in Asia, Africa. You got it made here, because at least here you got a definite three hots and a cot and whatnot. Even though your life's in danger more, but you got three hots and a cot, for crying out loud. So let's just call it what it is. So Brittney Griner, if you get free, I hope this is a life lesson learned, and I just call it a day. I don't wish this on anybody. It's a sad situation, but don't break the law. And weed, alcohol, drugs, alcohol, not that serious. The older I get, the more I'm just like, it's just not that serious. It's just I'm just being real on that one. All right. Anyways, so getting back to the Chris Rock, um, getting back to the Chris Rock incident. Okay, then we're gonna call it a night. Um, because the apology was given to Chris Rock on August 1st. And he acknowledged the comedian had already been joking about that certain situation. And um, the sad thing is they were friends before this whole thing happened. Especially Will Smith and Tony Rock. Chris Rock's little brother and whatnot. So that's what said. It's a very very sad thing. I even think Tony Rock tried to mentor him and various other people were trying to mentor Will Smith when Will Smith was trying to do stand up comedy and whatnot. Because that's a hard art to crack. It's not easy to be a stand up comedian whatsoever, and that's just keeping it real. But anyways, um, so at the end of the day, and since especially since the incident has happened with Chris Rock, remember his tickets. I've seen it for myself. His tickets, the lowest amount is $300 some dollars to go see Chris Rock, and I'm like, Chris Rock, I love you, but I'm not gonna do it. So I'm not gonna pay. Like I'm gonna be in LA when he's in LA, and I'm like, I'm wrestling with that. It's just not that serious. So it is what it is. Well, let's see. It says since the incident, Chris Rock has seen a spike in his career, so he doesn't need more publicity regarding the incident. Chris Rock says he's ready to speak with Will Smith so they can officially put the incident behind them. Like I said, the slap that was heard across the world benefited his career in a big, big way, especially given the fact the way he handled it. Chris Rock viewed Will Smith's apology video and reacted with mixed feelings. However, they However, the comedian will call will call Will Smith when the time is right, but only if he agrees to one specific thing. With Will Smith's reputation for making much of their private dealings public, he's Chris Rock's basically saying he will only discuss this incident with the actor between them, not online, not just a regular phone call or face to face with no cameras. The last thing Chris Rock wants is Will Smith making another sad video detailing everything that was said at their meeting. So I get that. So he wants to keep it private, and certain things in life need to be remain private. That's just real. I mean, certain things don't need to be. Not everything needs to be broadcasted. I think we do that a little too much. We do that a little too much and especially in the social media world. We do that just a little bit too much, and a lot of times certain things just should be remain private. That's my mindset. Just keeping it real. Certain things should be remain private. So, but it is what it is. I wish them all the best of luck. At the end of the day, I got nothing but love and respect for them. And I grew up watching Will Smith and Chris Rock for crying out loud. The first real rated R movie I ever saw was Chris Rock. He played Pookie in freaking New Jack City. That was the first rated R movie I got to see. So, Will Smith, Fresh Prince of Bel Air. I grew up watching, I'm an 80s baby. I grew up watching both of these guys, every single day. So, you know, um, I think the first full comedy special I saw was Chris Rock's Bring the Pain. When I think about it, it was either Chris Rock's Bring the Pain. No, that was the second one. The first one I saw was um, Robin Harris, when I rest his soul. The Baby's Kids and all that. So yeah, like I love comedy. That's what I say. I love going to see comedy shows. That's why matter of fact, I think as far as I know right now, he's the only show in LA I want to see when I go because he's Chris Rock is talented and whatnot. I mean, I'm not gonna say he's my favorite comedian, but he's definitely one of my favorite actors. But Chris Rock is definitely funny. But at the end of the day, I'm rooting for them. At the end of the day, I'm hoping that um, everything works itself out and he go from there. Just to keep it simple. So leave it at that, and hopefully Brittney Griner be able to come home. You know, like I said, I don't advocate anybody breaking the law, but that's 9 years. That's just harsh. That's just what it is. But take it as a lesson learned, especially for my people that think that they're smarter than the system or whatnot. Trust me, eventually you're going to get caught. And it's like I always said, it's like, unfortunately, neighbors of mine, his kid, I'm not going to mention any names, but his kid, I've seen this kid grow up in the last 10 years, 21 years old now. So when I met him, he was no matter of fact, no, I think that's crazy when I think about it now. When I first met him, 22, so I met him 12 years ago. So he's 21 now. So he was 10 years old when I first met him. And now he's 21 years old now. It's crazy. And he was a part, it made national, I mean, made the local news. He's part of he had a job and they were stealing laptops and selling them or whatnot. So um and he's he I've seen him smoke weed and whatnot. And it's like I'm not blaming weed or anything of that nature, but I am saying that you break the law, eventually the law is going to catch up with you. That's the message I'm saying right now. I'm not saying that everybody's going to be perfect. I've got a speeding ticket and a parking ticket before. I'm not, I'm not perfect, but I am saying you break the law, eventually the law will catch up with you. And when I heard the news, I had to say, why do you think Tupac and Biggie and all these other music artists did their best to get the heck out of the game? Because they wanted to ensure that they could build a life. Look at the lifestyle that they're living now. I can just imagine what Tupac's life would be if he was still alive right now. Biggie's life would be, Biggie was a straight up former drug dealer. Nipsey Hussle, the same thing if he wasn't killed. I can imagine what their lives would be like right now. Snoop Dogg, same thing. He went to jail for selling drugs and whatnot. And he says he wasn't the best drug dealer or gangbanger or whatnot, but that's what he went to jail for. And he knew that. He said everybody in jail, when they would rap and whatnot and freestyle and all that. They're like, man, you talented. You got to get up out of here, man. What are you doing up in here? Same thing with Mike Epps. He went to jail, and he was making people laugh. And now he's one of the biggest freaking comedians on the planet. It's just like these people did this because they know this. When breaking the law, there's only two options: death or prison. That's it. The biggest drug lords, the biggest cartels, eventually the chickens come home to roost to you. And that's the thing that boggles my mind to this day. That's why I'm saying, it's like, stop trying to outsmart the system. If you think you can't live without a weed habit or whatnot, then don't go to a country where it's illegal. That's the lesson learned for Brittney Griner. Okay, and I'm talking about weed smokers. If you guys can't live without it, don't go to countries where you know it's illegal. If it's that serious, I'm not mad at your habit, man, but I'm just saying, be smart. I don't think I'm being unreasonable when I say this stuff. It's like, hey, I don't care what your habit is, but hey, if the habit is more important than going to certain countries, then don't go to those countries. If the habit is more important than going to certain states, then don't go to those states. I know in America, eventually, because it's such a from an economic standpoint, once the federal government figures out how to tax it, and then I know eventually the banks are going to lobby, because you got all these marijuana companies. Once again, I'm not an advocate, but I'm just looking at it from a pragmatic economic perspective. Eventually, these companies are going to as far as the marijuana companies, once they get big enough, and the banking industry are going to be like, hey, um, Congress, President, you guys need to finally get together and legalize marijuana. You know why? Because economically, here's the numbers. Here's how, I guarantee they're going to have their accountants and the lawyers and tax specialists say, hey, here's the numbers, federal government. You're in debt. So here's a way for you to curb your debt. That's number one. Okay. By taxing the heck out of, you see, this is how the states and the counties and the cities are taxing it. Now you need to get into the game of taxing it. Okay. This is where you're going to benefit to help pay down your debts. Okay. By getting this extra tax revenue. Because this is what a lot of these states are doing right now. This is how a lot of states like Washington and Colorado were able to become, in a sense, recession proof because of the marijuana business. The same thing in California. Same thing in Nevada. All right, Nevada's Republican is all get out, but they like, hey, we want to get in on this. We got everything else that's legal here. Maine, Republican. That's what I said. It's not a Democrat Republican issue anymore. It's an economic issue. Michigan, red state. Come on now. But anyways, but so they're gonna do that, and they're gonna be like, hey, and this is how we're gonna benefit from it. So you're gonna finally let these corporations put the money in the banks. Then the banks are gonna then we're going to invest that money into the economy and whatnot, so we can grow our financial portfolios and whatnot. And by doing so, we'll be able to, in a sense, create more jobs, because more money will go into other businesses from the marijuana sales. That's what's going. I guarantee that's how it's going to go down. And when this generation of Congress people die off, or finally retire, because I'm not wishing death on anybody. The newbies that come in, whether the Democrats, Republicans, or Independents, going to be like, yeah, it's time for us to get marijuana legal. We need to get in on this business. Okay. Anyways, so that way the government's making money, the banks are making money, the corporations that own the marijuana companies are making money and whatnot. The local counties and cities and states continuously make their monies, and the banks get in more enriched and whatnot because that money is going into finally going into the banks, hence going into the economy. So I already know that this is going to happen eventually. It's not about if, it's all about when. And then, given the fact that marijuana companies are on the stock market, that's when I already knew. I was like, okay, it's all about when, not if. Okay, so that's how it's going to go down. I look at it from an economic standpoint because I like economics. I don't care about marijuana habits. Even if they legalized it, even if the federal government legalized it today, I still would not smoke marijuana. I'm good. Okay, I barely like even drinking anymore, so I'm good. Give me my water, my salads and whatnot. I'm straight. When it comes to my indulge, I have a bacon cheeseburger with a pizza. That's me indulging in some nonsense nowadays. That's where I'm at in my life. That's me cheating. That's my cheat days. But anyways, I digress. So yeah, that's how it's going to go down. And I know there's more than what I'm stating in regards to the marijuana aspect because I'm just looking at it from a pragmatic standpoint. I'm not an economist. I'm sure an economist can break it down even way more and go way in depth and whatnot. But that's how it's going to go down in the United States of America. Okay. Period. It's not a matter of if, it's all a matter of when or whatnot. So I care about that issue from an economic standpoint. Okay. It's going to create more jobs. It's going to help governments pay down debt, i.e., the federal government. It's going to allow the banks to get rich. Okay. It's going to allow other agencies to focus their time on other important issues than marijuana, because marijuana is not an issue to me. Obviously, it's been legal. It's been legal in Colorado and Washington State for basically almost 10 years now, and the states have not plummeted. So, it's the whole marijuana issue. It's not a thing anymore, But I will say at the end of the day, if you know the law, you break the law, you're gonna have to suffer the consequences, And I'm not, like I said, I'm not an advocate of anybody going to jail, especially 9 years. That's just overboard. But when you go to other countries, it's unfortunately the rules of engagement are different. Our people that were in the military, we know what's up. The rules of engagement is different. The mindset is different. You have to think differently. You have to act accordingly and whatnot. It is what it is. But on that note, family, I am out. Do the great 3 free things: like, share, and subscribe. Hopefully, you guys have had a great evening, and let me know what you think about the situation with Brittney Griner. Like I said, I hope for the best for her. Even like I said, I don't agree if there was marijuana or hashish in her bag. I don't agree with it, but I still wish for her to be able to come home and go fair. And let me know what you think about the apology with Will Smith in the comment section. Do you think that it was genuine? Do you think he's just full of it because he's just trying to, get his reputation back? Let me know, because there's so many aspects of this thing. Do you think Griner should come home, or do you think she should serve out a 9-year sentence? Most public opinion saying no. So let me know your perspectives. Either way, whether you agree or you don't agree, it's cool. Like I said, the only thing I'm going to argue about in this life is how to make money, how to invest money. So that's the only argument I want to have in 2022 going forward. Anybody wants to debate other issues, have at it. I'm not with it. So life is too freaking short, all right? So don't forget, if you're a stock market investor, crypto investor, individual time account investor, don't forget to check out WEBULL, Stash, Acorn, Crypto.com. With all those platforms, you'll be able to make some money and sign up and all that good stuff. Don't forget to check out my online store, support your local entrepreneur. All of it's always greatly appreciated. Thank you for the new subscribers. Thank you for the current subscribers. You guys are awesome. So I will see y'all later. Take care. As I always say, make money move, or you're going to live bro like a fool. Oh, hey, Mom, how you doing? My mom's watching. Say hello to my mom, y'all. Mom said, bring her home. I know that's